All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas. And my guest today is THC Wednesdays. We're going to talk about the most beneficial plant in history ever. And we're going to be talking about the laws are surrounding that. And this show is especially dedicated to Roger Christie, who is being held without bail in Hawaii for no conceivable reason, no corpus delicti, no crime been committed here. But let me introduce my guest, Ray Christl and Chris Bennett. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Clay?
It's going pretty good, sir. Going pretty good. Now, Ray, if you'd like to bring everybody up to date on Roger Christie's situation, and Roger Christie, you know, if he's in jail, I am a minister. I have the THC Ministries of Arizona, and I'm not committing any crimes. We've made the medical use of marijuana past that here in Arizona.
And Clay, now you're a legal patient, and we're going to get that set up for you in a couple weeks with Paul Stanford. Here, the thing tonight is Chris Bennett is a good friend of Roger. They have a 25-year relationship going back to both of them being in the hemp movement from the beginning. And let me just say that Chris Bennett is in the same building, has worked with Mark Emery, and now Jody is taking over as Mark is a guest of the United States government, and is just the incredible scholar of the world on cannabis and religion and medicine. He's just, he's got this cosmology of cannabis that is over the... Chris, take it away, please. Get started for us today.
Hey, thanks, Ray. Yeah, I've known Roger about 20 years, since the early days of the hemp movement. That we were both into the hemp seed products pretty early on. But yeah, I've written 3 books on the history of cannabis. The first one came out in 1995, and that was called Green Gold, The Tree of Life, Marijuana and Magic and Religion. And then I followed that one with a focus on the biblical references to cannabis and the role of the holy anointing oil and incenses in a book called Sex, Drugs, Violence in the Bible I did with Neil McQueen that came out in 2000. And then just recently, in the last few months, my 3rd book has come out, Cannabis and the Soma Solution, which looks at the role of cannabis in the Indo-European culture and how cannabis spread throughout the ancient world. So those are the 3 books that I've written, working on a 4th on cannabis and the occult, and then I have dozens of articles and lots of videos and stuff people can check out at my website, forbiddenfruitpublishing.com.
Take us on a journey a little bit, Chris, to go around the world. Start wherever you like. We tend to be Judeo-Christian orientated. You can start there or go the Soma route with India. But take us on a world journey of cannabis and really clue us in quickly bring us up to speed. And
just to make you aware, Chris, not only have I been in the paraphernalia and cannabis movement, helped start NORML for many years. One of the first books that I wrote was on the occultic connection with hemp, with cannabis.
Oh, cool.
So, and I'm rewriting it started out as the Solomon series 40 years ago, about a man that came back, and half the world thought he was the devil, half the world thinks he's a messiah, and he legalizes hemp in this country. So it started out as a science fiction book 40 years ago. I'm not sure it's going into that realm with the additional information that I have. But go ahead and take us on a trip. Take us on a trip here.
Okay.
Take us on a magic carpet ride. Take us on a magic carpet ride. Sure.
Well, what we know from archaeological evidence is that the oldest evidence of hemp, like actual hemp fiber, is about 12,000 years ago from an island in Taiwan there, some remnants of hemp fiber. But current research is actually placing man's relationship with hemp back around 25,000 to 50,000 years ago. And this is based on tools for decording hemp stalks. And this puts cannabis and humanity's relationship right around the time of the Great Leap Forward. And that's the time when things like fire and the wheel and items like that were all invented, is during this period of the Great Leap Forward, when there's this tremendous advance in human intelligence that can be witnessed through the remnants of tools and other items that we found through archaeology.
Absolutely. And I really can see the relationship there, because, we as soon as we discovered fire, man, then we could start smoking.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, likely it may have happened by people looking for fuels for fire, and then some things burnt and smelled a little sweeter than others. It may have happened during humanity's quest for food, when the nutritious seeds of the cannabis plant were found, and people started peeling them away from the buds, and the sticky resin stuck to their hands, and then they started discovering that resin and the effect of that resin, and our first medicine, likely. And so some of the top researchers from GW Pharmaceuticals, like Dr. Guy, I think that cannabis may have played a very important role in this great leap forward by facilitating human consciousness to advance itself and come up with new, novel ideas. All this evidence we have of smoking cannabis is either from Ukraine or France, depends on which study you want. In Ukraine, we have evidence of a polypole bowl that had burnt cannabis in it, and we have the charcoal carbonized seeds remaining, and that's what's left over after you burn cannabis buds. And so this puts cannabis back, like 3,500 years BC, so over 3 millennia before Christ. And then in France, there's been this recent claim of a cannabis at this astronomical mound where they were, following the movements of the moon and whatnot. And there's evidence that cannabis was used as a ritual drink there, again, 5,500 years ago. So 3,500 years before Christ again. So this is like older than any existing religion that's around right now. So that puts it right back at the very beginnings of religion and culture and whatnot.
Doesn't that go to your soma? Didn't you prove the word soma is this sacrament of cannabis in the Indian religion? I don't want to get you off track here or anything, but... Yeah.
Well, what we have in regards to that is in the Karakum Desert, which is on the border of Afghanistan, Russia, and that area there. We have the recent discovery by Professor Victor Sarianetti, a Russian archaeologist, of a massive temple, about the size of a football field, that is thought to be about 4,500 years old. And half of that temple was dedicated to making a sacred beverage, soma. And they have found remnants of both cannabis and ephedra at this site. And so it's believed that soma was a preparation of a combination of these substances. Ephedra is still used in soma preparations, although cannabis is not. And this has to do with what's created such a mystery around soma and how it became prohibited. These same groups, this is all through Indo-European culture, they spread cannabis throughout the ancient world, and that's why there's a connection between cannabis terms, say in the French with chambre, the AN in there, and bong in India, the AN in there, and hump in Germany, the AN, cannabis in our language, which is same as Dutch for cannabis. All these words are interrelated because they all come from the same original culture that spread its use around the ancient world.
Now, somebody on my chat room, Chris, is asking if the American Indians were using hemp. Were they smoking?
Well,
were they smoking it? What were they putting in that peace pipes?
There's a lot of debate about that. What's happened is like most people, the general view is that hemp and cannabis didn't arrive into North America until the Europeans came. And then some people say, no, it was here already. I'm more of the view that I think it came with the Europeans, based on what archaeological evidence we have. But there's no doubt that Native American groups recognized hemp for a sacred plant that it was when it arrived, and a number of different tribes and cultures in North America adopted cannabis into their religious cosmology and used it as basically as a sacrament.
Okay, let me ask you about on this